Yo, what's happening? What's going on? So, before we get started, I have my iPad here in my hand, I have my coffee, and today's episode is going to be more of a sit back, reflect on the week, and have coffee together, kind of behind the scenes, as I mentioned the last day. So, got my iPad pulling this up while I'm about to jump into this. You should get a coffee. All right, so let me put this phone over here. She's probably wondering how I do these fucking podcasts and get them set up. So we've got a 2-point setup. If anyone's ever watching the video, 2 cameras over here. It's funny. Let me give you some context. This is really funny. So when it comes to camcorders in the EU and recording limits, you can only go for like 29 minutes and 59 seconds. It's really annoying. So over here all the time, you guys don't know this, but I have a little timer because I know when 29 minutes lapses, which is a headache, and we just have to like automatically flip it again. There's a little thing we do, but yeah, it's that's kind of how we get set up here. But we're all ready to go. I have my coffee, and I want to sit back and I want to talk about a few things today. All right, just make sure the mic is all good. You guys are really getting the raw and unedited version today. Right, so put that over here. Right, we're good. Yeah, so I have my coffee. What do I want to talk about today? Well, particularly I wanted to talk about the topics we spoke about this week. First of all, the importance of them, and then I want to give you something. In fact, one of my favorite quotes. I want to give you one of my favorite quotes from a guy called Tom Watson that essentially will be like the final piece in the jigsaw to end this week. It's actually probably there's a few favorite quotes that I have, but one of my favorite quotes of all time that actually had a tremendous impact on my life. So I have that here, but let me have my coffee first. That is good. This one is called Diavolio. It's a Diavolio strength number 11. I prefer dark roast coffee. Being honest, I'm not a fan of the light roast. But anyways, I'm rambling. So let's just recap on the topics. The topics from this week. Happy Sunday morning, by the way. Pleasure to be here with you. Have coffee with you. Man, I just appreciate the fuck out of you. And by the way, when I say man, that means woman too. It's just I'm referring in general. Like I don't know whether I should say woman. It just doesn't sound right. But I appreciate the fuck out of you. I love doing this podcast. I love having you here, getting your feedback, hearing from you guys. It's been phenomenal. And it really pushes me to work harder. It really pushes for me to bring the best to you in terms of, I would say, rewiring mentality. And, is this the only way to win? Am I a fountain of wisdom? No, I'm fucking not. I'm definitely not a fountain of wisdom. But this shit works. And, the stuff we talk about, I believe personally it's a better way to live life. Being a force for good in the world. Going all in, not half-assing. Logic over emotion. Doing the right thing. Paying the price, entitled to nothing, earning everything. Like, they're good traits to me. So while, I can't say that this is the only way to live life, I personally believe it's a good way to aspire to be. And this week we spoke about, initially, let me recap here. This week we spoke about the lag period. Briefly, I want to touch on the lag period, not for long. And then I want to move into imposter syndrome and then sum it up with what Tom Watson said. But the lag period is something I believe that most people, they can't wrap their head around. And they get very short-sighted. They're not willing to just literally wait on the impact of their input by putting your foot on the accelerator. If you just give it time, I'm telling you, you will get to full speed. There is a gradual build-up. And it's just physics. It really all does tie into Newton's laws of motion. Like, it really is just physics. And we broke it down. But I think going into next week, next month, or even the next 5 years, I know the way I leverage the lag period, it's over 5 to 10 year periods. And it really does keep me sane. And the thing is, the things that pulled me aside before were shiny object syndrome, not seeing results, not having validation. And just being aware of the lag period just essentially squashed all them in one. Because you're like, okay, if this physically is going to take 12 months, well, I can go 11 months, 29 days without seeing results and I'm good. I'm good, you know? And that's how to that's a great way of practicing delayed gratification, in my opinion. Now, I actually want to give you a little context on that one too. Let me pose something to you real quick. If you won the lotto, I don't know if I mentioned this to you before, but if you won the lotto and let's say you won the lottery for 20 million, you have the winning ticket in your pocket, but for some reason you can't cash it for 2 weeks. You can't cash your winning lotto ticket for 2 weeks. Now, over the next 2 weeks, all right, you will be walking around much different. You'll be walking around with a pep in your step, feeling like the man, smile on your face, happier than fucking life, right? Worth 20 million. Because in 2 weeks, you're getting 20 million. Now, the interesting thing is, you're going around 100% energy, right? Happy as fuck, not giving a shit about your insurance payments, paying off debt, not worried about any of those stresses, right? Would you agree? Well, the interesting thing is, you are the exact same person. You do not have 20 million. In fact, you still have let's say you've got $1,000 in the bank or €1,000 in the bank. Nothing has changed. You do not have the 20 million, but yet you are acting different. You are acting in accordance with the future. You're acting in accordance with who you are going to become. And that is what you admit. You are now acting like someone who's worth 20 million. Right? And you see the difference that has on your day when you're walking around smiling, hey, what's going on? Yeah, I hope you're having a great day, and just being a good person in general, right? Now, nothing has fucking changed. Nothing has changed. That's the interesting thing here. And that's what you need to do. You need to act in accordance with the person you want to be. You need to act in accordance with where you're going, and you must maintain that behavior. Your behavior must continue to correlate with point B. It's just physics, because if you don't, it will not happen. Does that make sense? Right? And the lottery example always kind of stuck out to me in terms of how different you would act. But you have to be fully sold, and that's the key. You've got to be fully sold that point B is happening. You've got to be fully sold that point B is happening. So I thought that was an interesting one on the lag period, and that always stuck in my mind. So yeah, just think about that. But definitely that you need to act in accordance with the person you want to become. Now, sorry, I'm just taking time to enjoy this coffee. This is good. I said to Chloe yesterday, just off topic. I said, I don't know what time it was, like 3 o'clock. Didn't have a coffee yet in the day. And I said to her, I don't think I'm addicted to coffee. People would say I'm addicted to coffee. I'm not. Yesterday it was like 3 o'clock and I caught myself. I was like, oh shit, didn't have a coffee. But I didn't have a craving. And we were in a hotel. A girl came over to me. She said, hey, would you like something? This is how I noticed. Would you like something? And that's when it hit me. I was like, oh, I didn't have a coffee today. And I could have easily turned it down. Like, I wasn't craving. You know the way, like, I don't know, most people in general, they would crave sugar. I don't crave sugar, but you know the way you get a craving? Well, I didn't crave the coffee. And I kind of thought about it there and then. I said, I actually just like coffee. The same way people would say, oh, well, that's just addiction. That's not addiction, in my opinion. It's kind of like, I love steak. You know what I mean? I want to eat steak. Steak is not bad for me. Coffee is not bad for me. I choose to eat steak, right? I love eating it. Now, do I have to eat steak? Can I go a day without eating steak? Yeah. Do I want to go a day without eating beef? Well, personally, I love beef. So no, and it's the same with coffee, and it's really interesting. And Chloe said to me, is it an addiction? Is it an addiction if it's not bad for you? We're just pondering on that. But anyways, back to the imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome is bullshit. It only exists if you recognize it, if you keep looking back. And that's how all these topics this week was actually great. They align very well with the direction you need to head in. Because if you know what point B is, and you're locked in for the next fucking 12 months, the next 18 months, the next 5 years, because I know with me, as I said, my decisions are based off 5 to 10 year periods. And as long as you're laser focused on that direction, imposter syndrome does not fucking exist. It does not exist. It's a load of bullshit. And to be honest, if you do feel it, it is just an indicator that you're not doing the work. You're not validating you are who you say you are. And you need to start fucking looking forward and moving forward. My opinion. That's if you're feeling imposter syndrome. So see how those two tie together? Now, I want to talk to you about what Tom Watson said. So, Tom Watson is the founder of IBM. Oh, sorry, yeah. IBM's founder. Thought he was the CEO. No, Tom Watson is IBM's founder. IBM, multi-billion-dollar fucking company, probably trillions, I don't fucking know, crazy money, right? Now, when Tom Watson was asked what contributed to the phenomenal success of IBM, Tom Watson was said to have answered with this quote. I'm going to read it out. Got it on my iPad, right? So, when Tom Watson was asked what contributed to the fucking monumental success of IBM, here's what he said. IBM is what it is today for 3 special reasons. The first reason is that at the very beginning, I had a very clear picture of what the company would look like when it was finally done. You might say I had a model in my mind of what it would look like when the dream, my vision, was in place. The second reason was that once I had that picture, I then asked myself how a company which looked like that would have to act. I then created a picture of how IBM would act if it was finally done. The third reason IBM has been so successful was that once I had a picture of how IBM would look, the third reason IBM has been so successful was that once I had a picture of how IBM would look when the dream was in place and how such a company would have to act, I then realized that unless we began to act that way from the very beginning, we would never get there. In other words, I realized that for IBM to become a great company, it would have to act like a great company long before it ever became one. From the very outset, IBM was fashioned after the template of my vision. Each and every day we attempted to model the company after that template. At the end of each day, we asked ourselves how well we did, discovered the disparity between where we were and where we had committed ourselves to be. And at the start of the following day, we set out to make the difference. Every day at IBM was a day devoted to business development, not doing business. We didn't do business at IBM. We built one. Fucking hell. The hairs are raised on my arm reading that. Holy fuck. Holy fuck. If you don't see, I'm just going to be straight out, if you don't see the power in what Tom Watson just said and what we've been talking about these last couple of weeks, you're listening to the wrong podcast, right? It's clear as day. It's clear as day, right? And I have wrote down here, and I have this in our list of non-negotiables, and I've been trying to figure out the way to coin the term. But I'm gonna give you this one to sum that up. What Tom Watson said was, our decisions today shape tomorrow. How you act today shapes tomorrow. The decisions you make now, right? You know, there's a great saying. You're not the person you chose to be today. you're the person you chose to be 6 months ago, right? Your decisions today, they pave the way for tomorrow. And unless, think about this, right? We talk about this in terms of game planning. You got to have a clear vision, point B. How many times do we say this? You got to have a clear vision, point B. You got to know why you're going there. The question then becomes not what do I need to do? This is where everyone goes wrong, right? Hear me out on this. This is big. What I'm about to say, this is fucking major, right? The question is not what do I need to do? It's clear. Look at fucking Tom Watson. Listen. It's not what do I need to do. It's who do I need to become to get everything I want as a byproduct. Okay? And every day you need to set out to become that person. Not focus on the what. Focus on becoming that future version right now in the present. And you see how this ties into what we were talking about this week? You need to stay laser focused on what's in front of you. Okay? You become by actually becoming, but you need a crystal clear vision. You need a game plan. You need to know why you're doing it. You need to get clear on the who, not the what. Who do I need to become? What way does this company need to act? Okay? Who are we trying to become? Then you ask yourself, how long is this going to take? How long is this going to take? So then you can deal with closing the gap. You don't get sidetracked. And every day you wake up and you try and close that gap closer and closer and closer. And you're trying to essentially, the disparity, as Tom Watson said, he said, every day we wake up, he said the disparity between the vision and where we really were, that was what we were trying to close. How fucking unbelievable is that? Now, I have wrote down here, which is really interesting. You need to make decisions. You need to make decisions based off point B until that lag period lapses. You know that by now. And once you're aware of that, it's essentially like a video game, okay? You're not making decisions out of fear. Because when you're aware of the lag period, fear is eliminated, right? You're not guessing anymore. You know it's just physics. And that's the key. That's why most people are very good at video games, is because you don't have fear in a video game, okay? So you need to eliminate fear and you need to continue acting in accordance every day. And actually not just, blindly, hey, I'm going to keep going here. You need to fucking look at the feedback loops. As Tom Watson said here, every day when we woke up, we actually said, okay, what do we need to do now? How much closer are we? How much further away are we? Does that make sense? Now, ask yourself, let's play devil's advocate here. Would doing the opposite of what we just spoke about suffice? This will really help validate if we're on point here. Would doing the opposite, would not being aware of the lag period, would looking left, right, or behind us, would not taking into account that our decisions today shape tomorrow, how we act today shapes tomorrow, would focusing on the what rather than the who, do you think that'd be a good idea? I think it would be a fucking terrible idea, to be honest. I think it would be the worst idea ever. And it makes sense when we say it out loud. And sometimes if you're ever kind of wondering whether you should do something or not, or you want to get let's say third party opinion, just zoom out. Just actually say it out loud, zoom out, and you'll kind of realize, oh yeah, that makes sense. Or just flip it, do the inverse, say, would I do the opposite of this? And for example, when people say to me about, say, seed oils or cholesterol or whatever, and they say, oh, but, you're not worried about a fucking heart attack or all this fucking nonsense. And I just always pose the question, would I do the opposite of what I'm doing now that they recommend? Would I fucking consume these oxidized seed oils, all this bullshit? Would I want to cause that much inflammation? Would I want to expose myself to the harms that would come from their way? I'm like, no, fuck that. And yeah, sorry, going off track here. But back to the point. Say things out loud and you'll kind of realize, oh yeah, that makes complete fucking sense. And to do the opposite, to do anything other than that would just be foolish. That's the point I'm making. And I think to do anything other than what we just spoke about would not suffice in terms of you closing the gap between vision and reality. So yeah, that was our two topics for the week. One of my favorite quotes by Tom Watson, and that actually changed a lot in my life when I was aware of it. I'd become aware of the concept of become by becoming, and acting today to shape tomorrow. And even ask yourself the question, maybe we'll wrap this up. Let me ask you the question. Let's just say your name is Luke. Luke, let me ask you. No, I don't want to give you a name. Let me just ask you a fucking question. What would you be happy? What would the version of you 6, 12, 18 months from now be happy that you started doing today? Right? And this kind of takes you outside of the box, outside of the present, to say to yourself, okay, what would Callum 6 months from now be happy that I started doing today? So for example, I should really get my swimming technique dialed in because I want to do a half Ironman. Rather than waiting until fucking I want to start preparing, would Callum 6 months from now be happy that I started doing swimming lessons? Yeah, of course he would, right? And ask yourself the question, what would the version of me 6, 12, 18 months from now be happy that I started doing today? Okay, and your actions today, they shape tomorrow. You're not the person that you chose to be today. You're the person that you chose to be 6 months ago. That's actually the truth. The person you are right now, you chose to be that way. And I know you accept that. That's why you're here. Most people won't accept that. You're the variable, right? So listen, that is that for this morning's coffee BTS. Just fucking running it up. Yeah, what are we doing today? Sunday for me. I'm not going to lie. I have a shit ton of work to do today, so I'm just going to be working all day. I have to touch base with a lot of people. There was Discover 100 that was meant to go out the other day. But I want to tell you something about that. I want to give you an insight to the concept, to a concept that lives in my head. It's called the big domino. And the big domino is essentially, what is the one big domino that if I knock this, the rest of the things that I want in my life will happen? And for me, that is Discover 100. And while it was meant to be the 1st of November, the domino, if I had pushed it on the 1st, the domino would not knock all the dominoes. So there is a slight delay, unfortunately, it's a limbo period, I'd say, of about 2.5 weeks. But bear in mind, know that everything, number one, is calculated. Number two, that everything is with the best interest of you at heart, as well as the company. And just know this, I want to get this into your hands. And know that when it does land in your lap 2.5 weeks from now, just know how much fucking effort, how much time, how much detail, how much the element of chance was took away. No guesswork. Everything you fucking see is to precision. Everything is intentional. That's another thing as well. Everything in your life should be intentional. No fucking guesswork. Okay, wait, shit. I want to make sure that timer isn't up. Oh shit, we're going 26 minutes. Yes, so essentially when I tip this domino and when we send Discover 100 and this fucking company into the stratosphere, right, into a different fucking solar system, right, once we dock from the port and we head off, we're not really coming back. So I want to make sure that when I push this, it's done. And it is done. Super Fuel, in fact, actually is signed off. But there's some additional resources, to be transparent. There's some additional resources that I want to give you guys that I need to get in check. So it's all for your benefit. But working on that today, what else do I need to do? I'll probably meet up with Chloe. She has gone out this morning, but we will probably meet up for a coffee, go to the gym. What time is it? It is 8:45. Yeah, she's been out since this morning, so I'll probably meet up with her, go to the gym. That's my day. But anyways, I'm rambling. I wish I could talk to you and hear what your day is going to be like. Feel free to let me know. Usually this is the part where you respond, but I'm just sitting here on my own. Okay, listen, we're going to wrap it up. Next week, we got the 3 episodes done this week, eh? Right? I fucking executed regardless, right? Now, next week, we're going to say a minimum 2 episodes. We'll push for 3 just because of the workload, what I said. Like, legit, that's actually like how important it is. No, you know what? We'll do 3. Fuck it is what it is. I'm being a little bitch. 3 episodes next week. But just know, when I'm quiet, when you don't see me, it means I'm fucking building. It means I'm building. So, yeah, we'll wrap it up. I appreciate you being here. Thanks for the coffee. Maybe we'll do this every Sunday if you want to join me. We'll just like ramble. And remember, legit, if you don't know this by now, there is no secret to winning other than the ability to execute regardless. Perfect is never coming. There is no secret, right? Anyone who tells you otherwise, loser mentality. So yeah, go enjoy your Sunday. Do something productive to assert power over your life. Make someone's day. All right? Talk soon. Appreciate you. Winners win.